order. Fair Oaks Recreation Parks District Board of Directors, 1,422nd Board of Directors regular meeting. Wow,
everyone please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Okay, take roll.
Chair Pounds.
I'm here.
Vice Chair Carhart.
Here.
Director Irwin.
Here.
Director Smitty. Here. Director O'Farrell is absent.
So for audience public comment on non-agenda items, and person may address the board on any subject within the jurisdiction of the Fair Oaks Recreation Parks District. Each speaker is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. Any matter requiring board action will be referred to staff or committee for report and action at subsequent meeting. Have any public comment? Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to the consent calendar, all matters listed in the consent calendar are considered the board of directors to be routine and will be acted in a single motion. There will not be a separate discussion in any of these items unless the request is made prior to the time the board considers the motion to approve. The motion to approve the consent calendar.
So moved.
Again.
Oh,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Or agenda items, item 7.1, monthly Fair Oaks Youth Advisory Board report.
everyone. My name is Radia Alcaloni, and I'm the chair of WAB for the 23 to 24 term. Our term hasn't started yet, and applications are open and due August 24th. We had our first officers meeting to prep for the year 2 weeks ago, and it was very successful. We started planning events for later this year and decided our service projects for the year. We're hoping to move forward with 4 service projects groups. Service project groups, which are Eschaton, the Grange, the food bank, and parks cleanups. Our interviews will be held August 29th, and our first meeting will be on September 5th. We are so excited to start. Thank you.
Do we have for taking applications? Is that on our Instagram, website, Facebook? Is that it?
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Item 7.2, discussion of possible action regarding approval of a 1-year contract with the Fair Oaks Theater Festival for use of the Veterans Memorial Amphitheater for rehearsals and performance.
Thank you. This is, as you mentioned, this is a 1-year contract with the Fair Oaks Theater Festival for doing one show in the amphitheater, the new amphitheater, this summer. Multiple performances of one show, a family-friendly musical. They have
2024.
2024, correct? Yeah, thank you. The Veterans Memorial Amphitheater, as you know, has been closed since 2020 due to COVID-19, and then the renovation was part of Measure J. We're scheduled to open in the spring of 2024, the amphitheater, and the Fair Oaks Theater Festival has provided and produced shows in the theater, I believe, for a number of years, but prior to 2020. So quite a while. And in terms of my notes, it used to be up. I believe you guys were there in the 70s. Am I right?
When did you start doing shows? 83?
83. So quite a while. They've been a great partner doing wonderful shows for the community. So the Fair Oaks Theater Festival had proposed to the board at your last meeting that they would produce this family-friendly musical at the theater this coming summer. And the board had asked staff to work with the Fair Oaks Theater Festival in developing and finalizing their terms for that contract. On August 7th, the Community Resource Committee and staff and the Fair Oaks Theater Festival met to go over the terms for that final agreement. There's still some legal work that has to be done on that final agreement, but the terms were the critical piece. The legal part will be dealing with the attorneys, and we'll do that as soon as if the board approves the work that we've done so far and the committee. The committee did approve the terms on August 7th, recommended it to the board to approve. And if you would like, I can go over those terms. It's probably good for the public and for the record, if that's all right. Okay. So as mentioned, they'll produce a family-friendly musical. The performance is scheduled to occur on Fridays through Sundays from July 12th through August 4th. That's a total of 12 performances. Rehearsals for those performances will be held in the theater from June 17th through July 12th, Monday through Thursday. They have sent me a schedule of times, and we'll be going over those with them a little bit more in detail. At this point in time, the staff didn't have any real issues with them, and we know that we'll be able to work with them if they need additional time, and they need to be in the theater as well. So even though they have a schedule, if they figure they need some additional time, if we have it available, we would propose that we will be able to provide that to them. So we'll have some flexibility over it. One of the hard parts, at least from our side of this, to make this all work, and the Theater Association or the Theater Festival was willing to do this, was that they're able to relocate their stage sets to the rear half of the stage between the rehearsals and performances. That allows us to close our curtain halfway across the back of the stage, so the front of the stage, facing the amphitheater, could possibly be used for other purposes, whether it be a comedy under the stars, whether it be a musical event, something like that. Nothing like a theater production, because we wouldn't be able to do the sets and stuff. If we aren't using it, we'd have nothing planned, we would not require them to push the equipment back halfway. There'd be no reason to. So we'll work with them to make certain that they don't have to do it any more than necessary.
Right, we haven't seen the floor plan.
Yeah, I still need to send them the dimensions, the floor plans and stuff. I'm gonna get those tomorrow. That's instruction.
Because it's all about safety. We want people to be safe and, not to make anything crazy expensive for anybody.
So yeah, so as mentioned, they have provided a schedule detailing all the performances and rehearsal times. So we have that now, and that will be part of the agreement as we go into this, and we'll just clean that all up and put it in the agreement. The Fair Oaks Theater Festival agrees to supply a sound and lighting technician who will work cooperatively with our sound and lighting technician for the duration of the event. We don't have a sound and lighting technician yet, but we probably will. If we don't, at any time as this is going on, the Fair Oaks Theater Festival will use their sound and lighting person, and everything should be fine. So, Fair Oaks Theater Festival will retain 100% of the ticket revenue up to a total amount of $20,000 minus a $4 per ticket service charge. And that's the service charge is going to Parks and Recreation. So whatever.
And that's in addition to whatever service charge the online company.
Exactly. There
So
may
you
be
get the full $4.
right, and there may be $1.60 for an example fee as a bank fee for that, and they'll know that ahead of time as we set this up. We have to have the ticket prices from them before that happens. So any ticket revenue above the $20,000, less again the $4 per ticket service charge, shall be divided as follows. Fair Oaks Theater Festival will retain 75%, and Fair Oaks Parks and Recreation and Park District will receive the remaining 25%. So for us, that's a means for all of us to try and make this successful as possible. So we all win on that. Just the more success we have, the more revenue. All in-person ticket sales will be done at our box office 1 hour before each performance. We will be able to provide office sale for tickets for folks that really need to come in and do that. It's not something that we're going to heavily promote, but if someone needs to come into the office and buy a ticket, maybe they don't have a computer, maybe they just don't feel comfortable doing it that way, they can come in and get it before the show. We're just not going to advertise that very heavily. But they can always come to the box office 1 hour before the show. If there's tickets, they can buy them right there. Fair Oaks Theater Festival will be permitted to provide food and beverage concessions during the performances. Fair Oaks Theater Festival agrees to revenue share 5% of the net concession sales with Fair Oaks Recreation and Parks District. So they'll provide the concessions and we'll receive 5% of the net. Again, this is a 1-year contract. We don't have a food and beverage plan yet, so this works out fine as a bridge. Who knows what that food and beverage plan will be? It'll come back to you at some point in time. Fair Oaks Theater Festival shall have full use of the 2 green rooms during both performances and rehearsals. We have 3 rooms back there. The middle one does not have a bathroom, so that will retain for community use throughout this time. So if we have something that needs to use the building, we can do that. But the bathrooms on the inside can be men's and women's, for the actors and actresses. And, they will need to remove, all of their premises or store their premises in a designated storage area. Excuse me, I missed that. Sorry, wrong one. All the personal items in the green rooms belonging to Fair Oaks Theater Festival shall be stored neatly, safely in designated storage areas after each rehearsals. That may just be a box there in the green room, or something. We just don't want it all cluttered up, right? So we aren't going to be using those rooms. We just want to make certain that it's just not a chaos in those rooms during that time. I don't expect that to happen. All materials and supplies, including the props, stages, backdrops, used by the Fair Oaks Theater Festival during the production shall either be removed from the premises or stored in a designated storage area, and we'll show the theater association where those are, within 24 hours after the final production. So basically, they got to be out of there within 24 hours, and they'll leave the place clean and neat. Fair Oaks Recreation and Park District agrees to promote the performance through various channels, including but not limited to posters, social media, email newsletters, the activity guide, electronic signs, public service announcements, and Fair Oaks Theater Festival shall provide us with a description for the play, and they'll promote it to all. Both of us are required to put each other's logo on the promotions, so we'll be able to promote each other's programs and entities. There'll be no hanging up posters or anything inside the facility without prior permission. We right now don't have a location designated where we'll put those like in the lobby, because number one, the lobby will be used during the summer. For that, it might be for the black box, so maybe, who knows, but it'll be something that we'll determine, and the Arts and Entertainment Manager will work with them to see if we can actually put stuff on site. Fair Oaks Theater Festival shall provide all the staff needed to set up, take down all the concession sales, front and back of house, including ushers for the duration of the performances and rehearsals. At a minimum, Fair Oaks Theater Festival will provide one house manager, one box office staff person, and 2 ushers. In serving food and drink, the theater festival must provide 2 additional ushers and 1 concession counter worker. Fair Oaks Recreation Park District will not provide house staff unless arranged in advance at the Fair Oaks Theater Festival's expense. So if they need something and when we have staff available, we could potentially help them out. Fair Oaks Theater Festival is responsible for any damage caused to equipment or facilities. No building or painting of the sets will be allowed to occur on the stage. All set construction must take place off-site. That's pretty much it. And I do want to commend the Theater Festival and their group. It was a very easy negotiations, and it was a pleasure working with them. The committee was wonderful. Our committee was wonderful. I think that a lot of great input happened, and I look forward to a very successful season.
Yeah, we're excited.
We're all working for nothing, so.
We're working for the love of theater.
Join the club.
I can answer any questions.
So the only piece that we don't have figured out yet is what the actual daily rental fee of the facility is.
There is no rental fee charged to them.
Well, they have credit.
They have credit, and we
So
don't
they're
have
not
that.
using that credit?
That is something we're going to have to talk about. We don't have the fee, so we can't put that into the contract.
No, I understand. that.
Yeah.
That's why I was asking. That's the only piece that's
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
codified yet.
Yeah, that's not there. And no, we don't for this first contract.
But once we figure that out, then the credit will be applied.
That would be my recommendation, that we apply a credit for the rental fees up to and equal to $16,000 a year.
Right.
So is that something that we can vote on to have in the motion, to have that with that,
We will,
with that wording?
the challenge is for us, we will not have those fees have to go to public hearing. So we don't know what those fees will be yet.
But so we can't say up to 60,000. It's approved based, because we're not even saying the fees, we're just saying up to 60,000. So
You could, but we have an ambiguous fee. That's the challenge.
Do we need to include in the contract that there is no fee for this first year or something to that effect?
That would be something that you all have to decide as well.
Yeah, that was my understanding.
Yeah.
I also, how many seats roughly is the space going to hold?
Nick, you want to?
Roughly 430, but that's including lack of site
So probably for a theatrical performance, you're looking more around the 370s.
And then you mentioned sound and lighting technician that we may have to possibly have, which we don't have, but we could possibly get. So where is that factored into our budget?
It's not, we're using it as a training opportunity for this person. It gives us an opportunity to put them on the equipment and let them use it and stuff in the production period. So at this point, it's not part of it. We are requiring them to have it. So if we don't get that person, they'll have to have it.
I just add as chair of the Community Resources Committee, I and Derek second what Mike said. It was an easy discussion and negotiation. We have a little bit of give and take, and we stand good with what's in front of us tonight.
I have no more questions for staff, but I do have questions for.
Sure.
Does anybody else have any questions for staff?
We hope. Sure.
So 370 seats, that's a lot of seats. And my question is 12 performances of one show in our beautiful, lovely, small town
Mhm.
with 370 seats seems quite a lot. And so I'm wanting to understand why the decision, why the desire to have 12 performances of one show in a space that holds 370 seats in a small town.
Well, we draw from a larger area. We draw from,
Yes,
I mean,
sure.
from all over the place. We have we have people come in from other states, but we draw from the greater area. And it's to have 12 full shows or 4 full weekends of it is really about getting people the time in the summer with all the things that go on in summer, especially with when you're bringing kids to the show, the weekend that they can get in. We long ago stopped if the 4th of July was a week, a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, we didn't do performances on those days because we paid.
Sure.
Yeah, so it's amazing how having that extra week, 12 days instead of 9, adds to the total number of people.
The other thing is, the realty on the show starts out somewhere around $5,000. And then you're charged for each individual production that you do with that. So, but the basic cost is there.
Right.
So the longer we put a show, the more.
And that's why we've always tried to, keep ratchet down on our prices here at the theaters to get that volume. Especially, we always have a kid's price and an adult price for the kids too, which some theaters don't.
And so speaking of like thinking of children and kids coming on, so that's the whole place to kid-friendly show and all that good stuff. Is everything going to be an evening?
Yes.
What
Yes.
time are all the shows starting at?
They usually start, we usually start them at 8 or 8:30 because it's outside and the sun's still up until then. That's why Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, why the summer, because the kids are in school, will be done, they're not school days, they're not, we're done by July before all the schools start. We had the same shift issue that the state fair had when they chose to shift to July because of the schools.
As far, again, I'm just 8 or 8:30, depending on the age of the child. I feel like a lot of kids think we're going to bed, starting to put them in bed at 8 or 8:30, they're younger children. So I'm just.
Right, no, it would be a special thing that mom and dad have, say, you get to stay up late if we're going to live theater.
Right.
And that's how we.
One new factor in play now is we've got such a high building to the west that you won't get that late sun coming in.
Right.
Sunset might give you a little more time.
Yeah, it also is the lights are, on the giant light bridge.
If you go inside the amphitheater, you can see there's quite a bit more shade.
Quite a bit more shade. That's
So
the
do you
thing.
have kind of more historical data as far as how many attendees
Sorry, you didn't, Mike, we brought it and we just didn't get it emailed in, so,
Well, this is great to see.
yeah.
Just saying.
21, so
We figured you didn't want information from 1983.
probably not. But so should I, like I'm looking at 2019 and I see a total attendance, should I be dividing that by the number of shows to kind of get,
Yes, to kind of get the idea.
just going forward, it would be nice to actually just then have
Yeah,
what it is.
what I believe we'll do, Director, is that we'll be putting together some kind of form that they'll fill out after each show.
Oh, that'd be great.
That we need for that. It'll be very similar to that, plus a few other things.
You know, all of that started on graph paper with
Right.
pencil, so now we can.
Yeah, so do you think,
More analytics.
because it looks like in 2019 you did 2 shows, do you think having 1 show as well might bump up the average number, do you think?
One show, and we haven't done a show since 2019.
Right.
Yeah, everybody loves to come back.
What
So-
show are you doing?
We don't know yet. We have, no, we don't know because we had to get the dates and the number of performances and all of that.
Understood.
It's the chicken and the egg story.
Understood.
So, but things that we have on the list are Snow White, Once Upon a Mattress. We had Peter Pan, but now Peter Pan is, I guess, touring, so Peter Pan does not work.
Well, I'm sure you'll figure that out.
Yeah,
But
well,
you'll
know long before.
will you be doing just outreach as far as in the future, just as far as marketing and making sure you're getting that all out there and making sure all the partners?
Yes, because we want a nice big pool of people to
Yes.
audition.
Yeah.
So we want it out long before we do the show. I never like hearing, I know you never like hearing, oh, I didn't know when your auditions were. That means we're failing on our admissions, on our publicity. So yes, we have a couple, I guess now, website maestros who are on our board.
Just making sure that there's like a marketing plan to
Oh,
market,
yes.
because that's a lot of, what
Sure.
I guess what I'm getting, as you can probably tell, is like I feel that it's a lot of, 12, what is it, 14, 12 show, 12 performances.
shows.
It's a lot of performances for one show. So obviously, bless you, I'm hopeful that it's, not like 100 people are going to each show, and then it's not worth, in my opinion, to have that many shows.
Sure.
So my hope is that we're able to really have a good
Yes,
amount of
it's
people
never
doing that many
anything,
shows.
if you could figure that, I remember the head of the La Jolla Playhouse saying, we could figure that out, how to make a show a hit. You know how rich we'd be? But yes, we do everything that we can with the outreach. It's our comeback show, it's a brand new theater. All of those things are going to be in the advertising. Come see,
40 years.
Yeah.
40 years. Mhm.
There's really one thing that we always have to take into consideration, and that's that we live in a climate where we have 110-degree weather. And
Yeah.
We'd
love to do matinees, but-
documented that if the temperature is over 105, nobody.
Oh, I concur. Well, and
Yeah.
that actually brought me to another question.
That's
Why not think about moving it from July, from the hottest month of the year, to moving it to spring or early fall?
School.
Well, I mean, you did
I'm talking
fall
about
break.
actors too, because they're all back in college.
Yeah, many of them are college students. So
It's just something to think about, like,
Yeah.
even if you did something where you still do this, but get something where you do a fall play or something in the Blackwood, do something where that way you can at least kind of see, wow, we actually do get a great response. And then even when you have people come to that, you can give them a little thing to fill out that says, would you want to come to a show in Big Amphitheater in this time of year,
We have produced something.
Yeah.
And our problems with earlier in spring, and later in fall, in the outside theater, is rain.
Getting less and less these days.
Yeah.
I mean,
Even though we've had it
Last year.
Yeah, we had a great, but now that we have, but now that there's the ability to do the theater inside as well as outside, that's like,
Taking
this is kind
advantage.
of the shakedown tour, you know, for us, of the theater. There's a whole lot of different things to consider now. We haven't, you know, before, you know, there was no room in that
Yeah.
room.
And then how are we accounting for the concessions? As far as getting, so was it that
5% of it.
5% of the net? So how are we knowing that?
We
What
don't
is
have,
gonna be
we don't have a
given?
system in place. I believe Sabrina's used a similar system though. Is that correct?
Corporation, you have to pay.
All records. I just want to make sure
You guys
that you
record the
all,
numbers and get a percentage.
I just want to make sure there is a policy procedure in place for how that's going to happen. So we are
Yeah,
making sure
that's
their
something we
accounting
can
is
work with,
correct.
because you tally it every night, so that getting that tally to you, that's easy.
Making sure we have that
And,
accounting.
and again, Sabrina has done that with Chicken Festival and other events.
Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, good, super, yeah, no, that makes perfect sense.
Okay, great. Thank you for all my questions. I appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
Great. That's
So I think one of the factors we had on community, on community resources was that originally Mike had written down this 9 performance, which is 3 weekends. And one of the factors we took into play was to give them the flexibility, since this is a 1-year contract. The first year, we're probably not going to have performances beating down our door to make that competitive. Maybe in future years, if we've got a lot of things going, we'll have to parcel out the time.
Well, I think it'll be great to see. I am definitely curious though if anyone from the public has anything to say about this.
You have any public comments?
All right.
And I'd just like to say, my family gets a newsletter from the theater festival every year, so we're aware of what's going on. And for many years, we would go to 2 performances of the same show where we would go with our neighbors or whatever, but we'd have somebody from out of town or something come. We go, this is neat. Come see this in our community, and we go a second time. So just comments.
Thank you, yeah, no,
Are you guys still planning a gala performance like you've done in the past?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You need a fizz sponsor.
Time is of the essence, we don't get the right to something by the end of this
Yeah.
August, and we're not getting.
That being said, all of
Sorry, I had one more question before we do that. In terms of the other storage we have, I mean, traditionally, theater festivals had some on-site storage in the park. Do we want to address that at all, or is that something we can just handle informally?
I believe we can do that in-house, and it'll just be an amendment to the contracts and use their storage areas. Some of these storage areas will probably be under some kind of agreement for permanent or long-term storage. For example, the bathrooms that we took out. I expect those types of facilities to be able to be used by the Theater Association for a long-term storage. But we'll have to work all those out still. And backstage won't be one of those long-terms probably. That'll be critical for other operations.
So we do have that building that used to be behind the.
Exactly.
That we rebooked.
Yep, we still got that one.
And, we have the bathrooms that we've got.
Yeah.
We haven't designated that space yet. but-
The bathrooms will only have one entrance for that storage area. It'll be near the theater. So more than likely, it's probably going to be for something inside the theater.
I'll make a motion to approve of the 1-year contract with the Fair Oaks Theater Festival for use of Veterans Memorial Amphitheater for rehearsals and performances.
Well, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Official.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you. Very excited. We're very excited. It's like coming home.
Right? Yeah, it's gonna be a good test to learn to see. Football, football, all right, moving on to item
7.3, discussion of possible action regarding approval of Fair Oaks Recreation Parks District fiscal year 2023-2024 general fund final budget, including final budget for the general fund, the final budget for Parks and Maintenance and Recreation District, the final budget for Phoenix Field Landscape and Lighting District, and the final budget for the Gum Ranch Landscape and Lighting Assessment District. Not last but not least, but employer's contribution under Public Employees Medical and Hospital Care Act, the GAN limit, and the salary schedule.
All the things.
So a lot going on.
All right, well, this is our final budget, as we just said, and under each item that we will be asking you to adopt this evening. I have a short presentation to go through. So we're really just going to be comparing the final budget to the preliminary budget, which will approve in June. To meet with the Finance and Budget Committee on August 7th to review this with them. So overall, we did have some increases in costs for salaries and benefits due to mainly the 5% COLA that was requested by the Employees Association. We did get some feedback from the Personnel Management Committee when we went to them with it in May. They wanted to see some benchmarking. So we did provide that, and that is attached to this staff report. And basically, it did show that we are at the bottom of the market right now compared to the other districts that we looked at for the specific positions that we benchmarked. So a 5% COLA would be enough to keep us from maybe having to make a large adjustment in the next couple of years when we do our salary survey. So that was the main increase for salaries and benefits. There were some savings. We did see a slight decrease in part-time hours. We did always over budget our workers' compensation insurance. I don't know how or why, but there was some savings there, $7,000. Our retirement went down a little bit based on some position vacancies that we had. Our retiree healthcare decreased quite a bit because there were some demographic changes and people that had not been on Medicare plans or on Medicare plans. And then obviously the COLA was an increase. Our health insurance did go up a little bit more than we budgeted. The premiums went up quite a bit this year. We typically budget 5%. I think that increase was more like 6%. Services increase. Okay. Services and supplies, we really didn't make any changes other than we reduced the number of staff that would be attending the CPRS conference, which gave us about $5,000 in savings there. So that is expenditure. So there are any questions on any of those items? So this is just a graph that shows the last few fiscal years and the expenditures for each of the different areas, comparisons that has changed since we saw it a couple of months ago. Changes from preliminary budget for revenues. We saw actual collections for our property taxes a bit more than what we budgeted, so there was an increase of about $19,000 for next year or for this year. And then our facility rental revenues, we increased that line item a bit based on what we actually collected this year. So total revenue increase of about $29,000.
Jennifer, what was the rate of property tax increase? What percentage did we have last year?
This fiscal year, we initially budgeted a 4.7% increase, and by the end of the year, it was up to 5.2%.
5.2.
We always are a little conservative with that number.
So it's roughly comparable to the salary increase.
So our current fund balances, I just like to show you guys these. Each time we talk about this, our reserve fund is still at $515,000. Our carry forward fund is at $863,000. That is after taking out money for Grand Park, and then the $150,000 rollover COVID funding and contingency. The rest of our assessment districts have remained same. Our impact fees increased a little to 1.6, 5, and then our fees increased about $20,000. So overall, in our different various fund accounts, we have about $3.4 million. Most of that is restricted. And then what we're asking tonight is that you adopt all the attached resolutions, which include all the budget resolutions, the employer's contribution for health care, and the resolution adopting the GAN limit, which is
our borrowing limit. And the 23-24 salary schedule, which is based on a 5% COLA.
I was on the subcommittee for that. I didn't have an issue. We looked pretty thoroughly at that, both Director Manny and I, and pretty confident with this.
One I appreciate, I'm not sure who's on the personnel committee, but for both reaching out and doing the comparison with the other districts, it's nice to see where Fair Oaks lands, and it feel good about it. So we don't want to be underpaying our staff and then having them leave to go like somewhere else. Retention is important.
So a couple of questions. How many, this increase applies just to permanent staff, not the part-time staff?
It's just full.
They're hourly. And how
Our
many
hourly staff have been getting increases every year, because of minimum wage.
and wage stuff? Yeah. So how many permanent staff does this apply to? What's our
We're 16 right now.
16? Does that include our administrator in this too?
It's his contract states that he receives the full if the employees get it.
Okay. And sometimes it's hard to understand this, but the total amount of increase in salaries that was 20.
Well, the impact of the budget is 23,000.
Yeah.
Total increase for salaries, I believe it's like 50-something thousand.
Total, but the increase was 23.
The impact on the budget, yeah. So
Yeah.
for preliminary and final, we're adding additional.
So did that get compensated with increases in assessment, property tax revenues? It
Some of
didn't
it.
have to come out of,
We didn't pull anything out of any fund dollars or anything.
and I do want to say, I meant to preface this, I appreciate the Employees Association negotiating that down from their original request. That was,
Yes.
you know,
this
we
is
all
our
know inflation hit everybody hard, and so really appreciate it.
And, Chair Malice, I just wanted to also let you know that the benchmarking included the positions that you had requested that weren't in there initially. So those are available.
Okay.
One more question. You just added a new top level person for arts and entertainment. Did that salary offer, did that also go up by 5%?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Just curious.
Okay, well, does anybody have any other questions, any public comment?
I'll motion to approve.
Second. Second.
No, you did. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we have to do each one of these separately or
No.
My motion included everything on 7.3.
no? Okay. good.
Okay, 7.4, discussion of possible action regarding approval of the Fair Oaks Recreation Parks District fiscal year 2023-2024 341C final bond budget.
Again, I don't have a presentation for this one. There were no changes from the preliminary budget to the bond budget. I do want to clarify with this budget, because we've had some questions about what it is. It is really just an annual expenditure budget for us for the bond fund. So it's not the same as our operating budget. We don't get into the detail that we do for the operating budget. So we are putting together a much more detailed spreadsheet for you to look at the projects, what we spent, what's encumbered, what we have left, which is not a budget, it's just a document for you to have that information. So this one is just so that we can extend what we need to extend for the projects, hopefully this fiscal year. Great.
Does that include everything that's encumbered that will be needed to finish off the projects?
We think, yes.
Yeah, we'll be reserving a little bit of funds.
Yeah.
Because there always is something that you've missed or something that has to be tweaked or something that's going to come up. So that we're going to retain some money just for those options.
This is just strictly what came out of the bond, not supplements that we got from grants or other things.
That will be included and shown as revenue. So yes, this budget does include those reimbursements.
Oh, it does.
It's about $1.9 million in different various reimbursements, of the grants and the district.
Questions? Anybody in the audience with the comment? One motion to approve. I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Discussion of possible action regarding the appointment of bond oversight committee members.
Thank you. At your February 27th meeting, you approved a bylaw change for the bond oversight committee. That bylaw change is now requires every person on the bond oversight committee, when their year anniversary comes up, to be reappointed by this board here. The reason we did that was because it initially was a 5-year appointment, but because of COVID and other things, the projects obviously went a little slower. And so to keep that continuity, we're asking the board at that time, just to give us that 1-year option of unlimited terms, as long as the board approves those individuals on the committee. So because of that, a few members had their anniversary after the February board meeting. And so, and before now. So we are asking for those reappointments for those, I believe, 5 members. I'll read the list and the times here. Keith Walters for the period of March 1st, 2023 to February 29, 24. Amy Larson, Barbara Cicito, Dana Woodward, Gary Jules, Justin Drake, and Kim Sarkovich from April 1st to March 31st. So those are the ones that we're asking. And what I hope to be able to do, and you can just give me a directive on this, is I'd like to be able to put these on the consent agenda, because you're going to see another one next month, a reappointment. And if you have an issue, you can easily pull it off and we can discuss it, or you can vote to, or you can direct me and say, no, let's put it on the regular agenda each time. But you may get tired of me asking for reappointments with the number of members we have. But it's completely up to you how you want to do that. But for this one, we are asking for reappointment for those members that I mentioned.
So at this stage in the game, we've got some excellent people on the oversight board. They are up to speed and everything. It makes sense at this point in the progress of spending the bond money that we keep these experienced people. So I very much support the idea of extending terms.
I had a question, or I guess I'd like to see going forward. I would like to see, for anybody that's coming up again, I would like to see their, whatever blurb that they did to get on. I'd like to see that. If they would like to update it, I would also like to see that. I would also like to see if there's anybody that has applied for an appointment. It'd be nice to know if there are other people wanting on versus just giving the same people. If there's other qualified people, I'd like to see that. I also would like to know if anybody on the board knows, or our staff know, how the county receives appointments, if they vote on them individually or if they're voting on them together. Because obviously there's lots of CPACs. Are they voting on new CPAC things together or individually? My guess is it's separate, but I don't know. So basically my opinion is I'd like to know that, but generally I feel like I would prefer to vote versus all of them. That's my feeling.
I know these people all.
I know most of them as well. But I would prefer to vote on them individually, and I would like to see their bios or where they submitted and give them a chance if they're coming up for reappointment to put a new one and why they want to stay on the board or stay on the committee. And then if there's any additional people that are wanting to get on the committee, and I do not want this on the consent calendar. Personally.
I would like to follow up on Raymond James Stone. I would also like to know if there's been any interest from any other members of the community, other than to join the oversight committee.
This time we have.
Okay.
We also would have to vote that. So we understand about that.
How many members are currently? Is it 9? Or is it 7?
So
Do we need a number?
It's a non-
It
What is
was 9 at one point.
What is the projected duration of the committee? How much longer do we have to go?
So here's what's going to happen. Happen with the bond project. We'll get to the point where we're substantial status. And we'll have those dollars still in the account. And there may be enough dollars to do a minor project. Let's just say that those dollars are a bit of $500,000 to $700,000, if everything goes well. And that might be interest payments or whatever it is from the bond. That could be a while before we get to that expenditure. I'm trying to stabilize this project, so we're not adding anything new right now, and assuming that we're going to have money. So we're stopped on the expenditures. So what I think will happen is we'll get to a point, and it'll probably take us another year to expend those funds to identify a project that those funds will have the most impact for. Because it won't be a ton of money, but we want to make sure it will make an impact. And so once we get that, and then we spend those funds or commit those funds, if they would be released, they probably will not be needed nearly as often in that last little bit.
So part of the mission of the bond oversight was to make sure the money was spent in the categories and for the purposes of the measure. Also was to monitor the actual expenditures and the amount of money put into these projects and the progress of the project. How much money do we have left that hasn't been committed to these projects? It's not very much, is it?
I'd have to come back to that.
Yeah, it's
I
very.
don't want to throw out a ballpark number.
Yeah, but it's a relatively small amount. What I'm thinking, my logic is this. We have very little to wrap up. I think the biggest thing to wrap up is how we spend the remaining monies, which projects those go to. And that's something that the bond oversight committee should weigh in on this. But to just looking at the quality of the people and the fact they're up to speed, they've been up to speed for some time. They don't have to be reintroduced to the whole picture, which is why I thought it was a good idea to just continue them.
Yes, so do you know everyone on there?
I do.
You said
They're all
what?
high caliber
Yeah.
people, they're all.
I don't know, at least I don't know name-wise who Justin Drake is. I know who everyone is. John, no, Mr.
Yeah, Kim is the former CFO of the city of Rockland.
Oh,
And she
Very,
did
very-
a presentation a while back. I was actually gonna ask about that. It's been quite a while since someone from the committee has come to a board meeting and shared an update. I believe the last one was either Kim or Amy. But I think that would be really nice to have someone come and share with us. So,
The
I
other
don't want to put Barbara on the spot.
The other thing is, what I remember, I can't remember which committee it was, Director O'Farrell, when people were coming up to fill a spot, we reviewed those and then recommended to the board. So it would be nice if these went to whatever that committee was.
You want to vote me first?
I think it should. It'd be nice to just see that they looked through it, everything. I think that would be cool.
Both Amy and Justin were key to passing the bond, weren't they?
Yes.
They've been involved in this before we even had a bond.
Yeah, I have no issue with any of those, but I do think that I'd like to see the process going forward if the other board members are open to that. Okay, great.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, any public comment?
Think of motion.
Since I've been the prime advocate, I've made a motion to reappoint the following bond oversight committee members: Walters, Larson, Sestito, Woodworker Negri, Jules, Drake, and Sarkovich, for the period of April 1, 2023, to March 31st, 2024.
All in favor?
Aye.
7.6, discussion of possible action on selection of candidate for special district representative in Sacramento local formation commission.
requesting that the board submit a vote if you choose for one of the candidates listed here, and there are 7 of them, for a 4-year term on LAFCO as the special district representative. The incumbent right now is Lindsay Carter, and then there are a variety of others: Brian Danzel from Cordova Rec and Park District, Paul Lindsay from Flora and Resource Conservation District, Joanna McVeigh from North Highlands Rec and Park District, Edwin Harris from Reclamation District 1000, Bob Seaman from Fulton Alpino Recreation and Park District, and Bob White from Sac Suburban Water District.
Does anyone know any of these people?
No, I read through all of
Yeah.
these, and Bob with Fulton Alpino really sounded like he's our kind of guy, my kind of
You
guy.
mean Michael? Michael's.
Yeah. Fulton Alpino. This,
Bob was Sacramento Suburban Water District.
no, sorry.
Well, obviously, I'm in favor, I would be in favor of giving it to voting for a rec and park person to be on
I
it.
wish I could find his resume.
He really liked Michael.
We always use out the water districts anyway.
Or fire.
Fire, yeah.
Now watch out for the water.
Fire, I'm sorry.
And no one came. That's nice. Years
Oh, yeah, we had our campaign.
No one's come.
Yeah, so,
I don't know exactly. I liked Brian Danzel as well. Does your husband know Brian? Do you like Brian? I would say I would go between Brian and Michael. I don't have a preference.
so, Fulton fellow has been on the advisory committee for the last 4 years. That's a kind of a prerequisite.
That's what I'm on.
And, I like the fact he has a bachelor's in architecture from the University of California, a master's in urban planning from San Jose, and a master's in landscape architecture.
You want to make a motion?
Sounds good to me.
And he's a veteran, and he's many years on the. And so I want to get his name correct. I believe this is Michael Seaman. So I would make a motion that we vote for him for this position.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye. Great. No, I think last year we did it.
You just said, yeah.
Okay.
Just out of curiosity, what's LAFCO?
Local Agency Formation Commission, they determine incorporations, adjustments to district boundaries, that kind of thing.
Got it. Thank you.
I think John O'Farrell, I remember, was executive parks guy 10 years.
Was he?
Yeah.
That's Sacramento.
I
Yeah.
realized that.
Okay. Moving on, ready to report one items from the board.
I do not have any.
I don't have anything
I already mentioned to Mike the issue of paving around the park. He's indicated that that's currently scheduled for the fall because pavements, asphalt pavement, can't be put down in cold weather. And I was wondering how they were going to do that at the end of the project in January and February. Apparently, they're going to advance that. So it'd be pretty good. The other thing is, I know that they were doing some tree work over there on Madonna, There's a lot more tree work to be done on Gum Ranch Park. Tremendous amount of dead trees there. And the one that's most interesting to me is the one where they built a retaining wall on the street, a big, massive valley oak. And because of the retaining wall and the lost roots and stuff, half of that tree has died. And that's the one I think should deserve the most attention because we want to save that tree. So.
And I will be using an actual doing work in-house on that one.
Yeah.
For one, for the proximity to the road.
Right.
It's just easier having certified arborists from the licensed company doing that. And they have better equipment and time.
That tree is worth it. That is a heritage tree. But we've lost a lot of other oaks in some of the areas when they were building the park or development there where they had a lot of stockpiled material under the blue oaks. We've lost 2 very big blue oaks since we accepted the park. And then there's other small. I think the mortality is over now. I think all the damage has been done. So that's all I have.
Yeah, I don't have anything other than the fact that we just wanted to mention that the next meeting, we review the remaining, whatever the balance is, the bond budget. And that's it from the director. This items for staff.
Sean, you got something?
Good evening, Board of Directors. My name is Sean Ventura, Parks Facility Manager. This is Rick Serlo. He is a park worker who is cherished members of my staff. He's going to take a little bit to talk to you about our water situation in all of our parks. I know Director Carhart, you expressed concern about our water use, I believe 2 board meetings ago. So I'm gonna let Rick take the stage. Just, I believe, his first time speaking in front of the board, so please don't be too hard on him. Before he does that, I just wanted to take a moment to just advertise a little bit. We have completed our CEQA study for the potential project at Phoenix Park. We are currently in the public comment period, so just trying to get the word out there that we do have those documents available for public review on our website under the transparency section. So, people want to take a look at very long and dense document about the environmental impacts, potential environmental impacts of that project. Feel free to send them that way. It's going to be open until the end of the month. So that's just it for me. Rick,
Good evening, directors. I'm just going to go over a couple things that we do and have done to minimize water use in our parks. First off, we are constantly repairing and replacing broken and damaged irrigation components. There's a lot of old irrigation components in there, so things like galvanized pipe eventually rots out. Nothing we put in the ground is permanent, so it all has lifespan. We have replaced older clocks with newer smart clocks. That has given us the ability to be more organized and efficient for programming. Those smart controllers are able to alert us with issues, which reduces our response time, reducing the amount of water wasted. So the longer it takes to get to a break, the more water waste. So try to minimize that as it. At our smaller parks, we have gone to a cycle soak irrigation approach, which is basically using less water more efficiently. Instead of dumping all the water down at once, we kind of break that up a bit. We are constantly in the process of changing we are in the process of changing our pop-up spray irrigation to drip line in some of our older planter areas, and this reduces the amount of runoff that we have, and essentially reducing water. In other established vegetation areas, we have switched out high flow nozzles with low flow nozzles, and that just reduces water use. It's always a good thing. And then we are constantly evaluating our current irrigation setup and either minimizing times stations or just cutting out sprinkler heads that are overwatering. Because of all this, we are down 25% water use from our base, which is 2011, 2012, 13, 12, 13. We had 3 fewer parks then, so we have more parks to use
We still,
Sorry, water district.
we still use the, at one time we had a CalSense system that I thought could be controlled from maintenance building. We still have that, it's still functioning.
We do have clocks that we're able to do via wireless internet, so we can control a few of our clocks with our phones.
Not all of them, just a small percentage.
Yes.
If I could just add on to that, Rick, sorry for interrupting. That is some of the, over the last 2 years, some of the rebate programs that we've accessed for newer clocks. We use those at Phoenix Park and Fair Oaks Park to install the smart clocks that we talked about. And those are the ones that we can control from any computer and phone, as long as we have login information.
So did that add to ones we had before? I mean, we used to have something called CalSense, is that still that?
We did get CalSense controllers to replace older clocks. At Phoenix Park, they would replace older CalSense clocks, and that's just a brand. And at Fair Oaks Park, they're replacing Sterlings or Irritals.
The Irritals are the older ones.
Yeah, and those ones I believe will first install there probably in maintenance. They're very good. They work like very, very reliably, but they don't have the same communication features.
And I know in the past, the water district has worked with our staff on like water timing. I know some of our parks have got so many valves that you can't do all night water, but you try to do a lot of it at night and bring a lot of it.
Yeah, that's with our larger parks, we will most likely never be able to go to cycle soak approach, cycle soak option, just because we don't have enough time in the night to be able to water everything.
And also add on to what you said, I'd love to pass along confidence to Robert Perry and the water district. He is very communicative and very helpful. Anytime we're facing an issue, he's always there to lend a hand or just point out when we're missing something that we should be fixing.
Well, the point I think I made before was the fact that, the obsolescence of some of our systems, our water bills are huge. I mean, I look at them and it makes me feel better about my water bill. But, by upgrading the technology we have out there, we have the potential to save a lot of dollars, and that's what I'm kind of looking at with it. One other point, and it's not really irrigation, but I've noticed out at Phoenix Park, as well as everywhere else in town, Red Oaks, Corpus Rubra, they just cannot give them enough water. They're a tree that loves water. They don't belong in this town at all, but they drip sap from the apex. I mean, something really noticeable. You see them in the street medians. Your tires kind of stick as you drive through those lanes. You have a big issue with that at Phoenix Park and other places. I would like to see a program that, gets rid of those at the time. They're not the universal tree in the park, but as we can replace those with something more appropriate, it would be good, both for the users that don't have to be under the sticky stuff and for water demand. That's my pitch.
If I can just respond to that, we are planning some tree planting trainings and trying to get more trees in the ground this fall. If any of you remember Tyler Roach, one of our previous employees who went to work for the road buildings, he's a certified arborist, and he offered to come back on his free time and just work with our staff on free training for tree plantings. So we will be moving towards that in the near future.
Yeah. Having been on the Tree Foundation Technical Committee, I tell you the trees not to use, that we should, just get rid of. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
for
thank you.
the report.
Nick, did you have anything? Ian, did you have anything? No. A quick construction update. It's not a long construction update, but just things we're doing are pretty substantial. We have tore out all of the parking on Fair Oaks Boulevard and California Street, and we demoed that. We put in the new base for that, and it's going in. They're doing compaction around it. We put new curb and valley gutter in around those two parking locations. They poured the curb today, report curve on that. And then we're doing site grading for the Plaza Park area. So you're starting to see that park shape. It's kind of fun to see. It's like clay. So there'll still be some adjustments and stuff, obviously for elevations and things like that. But moving the dirt around, we're digging less holes. It's always good. And the less holes we dig, the more we're building things. So that's where we're at right now. Oh, arts and entertainment manager. I can answer any questions like construction.
So we're still set for February estimated completion.
Substantial completion in February. We're still working on occupancy. We have a meeting tomorrow. We're discussing occupancy. That could delay us. It's real possible we'll see a delay based on occupancy. That is out of our hands. Once construction is substantially completed, we can start getting those inspections for occupancy. And when I say occupancy, I mean outside as well. It is one site.
So typically on projects that you put a lot of landscaping, you'll have a planned establishment period that takes like as much as 3 months or something. Is that after the?
That's after substantial completion, correct.
And the contract will still be on.
Yes, they're still.
That is completed. When is that? How long is that?
I don't have that.
It's in the contract.
Yes, in the contract.
But that's after March.
Yeah, that grow in period. It's quite a while. We just finished up the strengths. Not too long.
You want to make sure everything lives, all the systems continue to work.
That doesn't mean that we can't use the park.
No, that doesn't mean we can't use it. You're absolutely correct. That does not stop us from occupancy. Okay. Yeah. We will accept the plantings that are done and all of that kind of stuff with still the understanding that we have.
And I had a question that I wasn't sure somebody posed to me. As far as the supervision, the resident engineer on the project, do we still have our company that guided us through the work? Who represents?
You're talking about construction, our construction management? Construction management, is that right? That's ICS, yes.
So that they continue with this.
Yes.
What was the guy's name?
Dave is our
Dave.
Dave. Yeah, we're all meeting again tomorrow.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then the arts and entertainment manager update. We did talk with Jen Schuler, and she is scheduled to start September 5th. So if it goes well, we'll see her here in the first part of September.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes.
I will second.